Another DraftScience video, and these protectors of the faith are just so bad at doing their job. So we're going to do a little bit of this time dilation thing for the quick explanation. So Pyrrho's doing the observer and then the spaceship watching guy and blah blah blah, and we know the actual facts. So this guy is going half the speed of light, and he shines light ahead of him. Now the argument would be, what's actually happening? Is the light leaving him at the speed of light? Yes, it is. Is he moving half the speed of light? Yes, he is. So in fact, okay, the light is only gaining on him by half the speed of light. Now the trick is, this guy is now time dilated, which means out of every minute of his day, he's asleep for 30 seconds. So so half of his life, because he's going half the speed of light, is non-existent. So when he sees the light shining ahead of him, that's only gaining on him by half the speed of light, it appears to be going the full speed of light because he keeps going to sleep. And he wakes up and says, "Oh, look how far it is." And then look how far it went. Because half of the time the light's moving, he's not seeing it. He doesn't think it's happening. And so something going only half the speed of light away from him appears to be going the speed of light away from him because he's not alive. So it's like an elephant's running from me for 10 miles an hour, let's say. And I close my eyes. And I open my eyes. He's further down. So I'd say, oh, he's going much faster because look how far away he is. And I close my eyes. Oh, he's going much faster because he's further away. See, the thing ends up further away because I'm not conscious. I'm not living. I'm not alive. So time dilation just means you're asleep half the time. So at half the speed of light, you're just out of it. You're out of the game for half the time. And obviously it doesn't happen in 30-second intervals, but I'm just using that as an example. Half the time you won't be aware, and therefore the frame rate will look faster because you're missing part of the frames. If I took half the frames out of this Pyrrho video, it's like increasing the speed. I make everything go really fast. Is this video really fast? No, the actual video isn't. Okay, it's only a consequence of perception because I'm asleep. All right, now the real test, as I pointed out before, is the horizontal to your movement test, because that kills the idea of momentum ever confusing you. All right, and you'll be able to see that the reality isn't what you're perceiving. And the neat thing is, they can do this test now, I think. It just depends on how those interferometers are located, which way they're pointing. So the point, as I've illustrated before, you want to do a real test to say, is there a way that you can know your absolute speed? Now you have to do this in all three dimensions to know your absolute speed, but you'll get the drift. Now the only thing that doesn't carry momentum is force. So it'd be nice if we could just shoot baseballs across the ship and say, well look, we can tell how fast we're going because the baseball didn't hit the spot. And the other catch is, you have to find a quiet frame, or you have to know what perpendicular is. So I think you can know what perpendicular is without having a quiet frame. So the idea would be, you don't use a laser to find out where the opposite side of the spaceship is. All right, what you do is you find a perfect right angle, and you make sure your light gun is pointed right at the opposite side of the ship. That's all you really have to do. And the catch is too, the ship has to be wide enough, okay, to be able to do the test. So you need some time. You need, and the catch is too that you could do it with mirrors, but again, you can't use lasers, can't use light to position anything, because the catch is the light's in the quiet frame and you're in a noisy frame. And so you have to do it with pure geometric angles. You have to do it with right angles. But you could theoretically make sure that it bounced back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And if you did that with pure geometry, you could have a light gun, meter, whatever you want to call it, tell you, a light clock, exactly how fast you're going in any circumstance, because the light will always go straight. It'll never carry your momentum. See, no matter what you shoot, see, you could do it with something like maybe electrons or something, because they don't really carry momentum either, but they don't fly straight, so game over. And but all matter is going to carry the momentum, so it's not going to do any good. You can't throw it without it moving in the direction you're moving. But light doesn't carry momentum. So I'm just saying the obvious way you can know you're going half the speed of light is to make one of these clocks. Just shoot the light across. You don't even have to have a mirror, because you'll see it. It's going to be so obvious. You don't even have to have a wide space, because it's going to be so obvious. And at that kind of speed, the light is not going to hit the perpendicular. So if you're going this way, the speed of light, the light's going to hit here. It's not going to hit here. It's going to hit here, way, way off. Okay, because for every foot you move it this direction, at the half the speed of light, means that you're going to knock this light, for every 2 feet it travels, it's going to end up revealing that foot. And so for every 2 feet, it's going to be another foot off. So it's going to be quite obvious that you're moving, because the light is going to hit, not perpendicular. So I don't think you have a defeat for this. Your relativity shit isn't going to fix that. No matter how slow your perception is moving, no matter how much I'm asleep, no matter how many times I pass out and wake up, the light's never, ever, ever, ever going to hit here. It'll never do it. No matter, you could wait 1 trillion years, you could go, doesn't matter how fast you go, you can't escape the problem. It's just going to make it worse. The more you try to sleep, you won't be able to increase the frame rate to make it go over there. It'll never hit straight across. It'll never do it, ever. All right, so the neat thing is I was thinking about that giant interferometer they have, right? So the Earth turns, okay, rotates, and so clearly it's going in 2 opposite directions. That could be sort of agreed upon. Now, the amount of time it spends in actually going the opposite directions isn't a huge amount of time, but it should be enough to detect this from this during those times, those opposite times, 12 midnight versus 12 noon, whatever you want to, however you want to figure it. The opposite direction. And the truth is when I saw a video of how they made the interferometer, and they had they used lasers to align things, to make the straight line they needed. And so the laser was sort of essentially doing exactly this. Whatever movement the Earth had, the laser was negating it. Okay, so in a sense, if our motion, if the world was moving in a certain one direction, the laser would be a little bit off that way. And if it was moving the opposite direction, it'd be a little bit off that way. But I guess that wobble wasn't enough to make a difference in how they constructed the thing. But I think, in theory, 4 miles, right? I mean, it's a 4-mile distance. I mean, the arms. If they did a true perpendicular test, okay, not using lasers, okay, found some way to see if these right angles are perfect between their emitter and their receiver. And if they could see if they had perfect right angles. So if they had a tube they collected the light in, and they had a tube that emitted the light, let's see, this tube would be perfect. Let's see what else could be constructed it's just a little bit tricky to figure out how you can do this perpendicular, having a perfect right angle. But that's all you really need, is a way to ensure that you have perfect right angles facing each other. And then you could detect a little tiny movement in that light beam, little tiny bit, and you'd know the Earth was moving. You'd know where it was moving. And again, if you want to do all 3 dimensions, you'd have to have an interferometer going up and down, and then you'd have to have one going up and down, forward, back, this way. Yes, you'd have to have one going all 3 dimensions, and then you could tell what your overall velocity was from the absolute frame. which I think would be a really neat thing to know. So it's almost like I'm thinking they might be able to do this in space, but see, they always use light to do the alignment. So light's going to give them the wrong answer. It's not going to give them the perfect perpendicular, because it's going to be giving them the non-moving reference, and so they're going to establish the starting point at the non-moving reference, which is not going to be correct because they're moving and they wanted to be able to detect their movement. So I mean, the obvious simple answer would be you do the alignment in a quiet frame. So you put the whole thing somewhere where you know that there's no velocity, and then you can use lasers, but you can't use lasers for alignment unless you're in a non-moving frame. But it would be I just think mathematically this should be doable. You just have to find some other way besides using lasers to check your alignment over a 4-mile period. So you need some other way to make sure you have a straight line, a perfect 90-degree angle. But if these are perfect 90-degree angles, the point I'm making is, if the Earth is rotating, say, this way, and you're moving, this whole experiment is moving this way, when the light's emitted, it's going to drift a little bit off. And that'll tell you you're moving. Yep. Yeah. So I think it'd be a really interesting experiment. So I'll have to think some more on that. But anyway, so look, my point I've always made from the very beginning, there's no time dilation, there's metabolism breaking. And that's what I mean by the unconscious part. You're not still living the same amount of time. You're living in a time where you have less time. You're living, when you're going half the speed of light, you're alive only half the time, by their theory, even by their theory. By my theory, you died a long time ago because you got ripped to pieces, because matter can't go anywhere near half the speed of light without getting ripped to pieces. In all likelihood, any complex matter has to be just neutrons and stuff. Anything atomically complicated is going to get substantially damaged, because all the forces inside of it, the electrons won't line up, nothing's going to be lining up right, and the shit's going to be shooting all over the place and blowing everything apart. So complex matter will not survive ultra high speeds. So let's play some more of this, see how much Pyrrho messes it up. A simple thing. All you want to say, Pyrrho, is, yes, the light leaves me at the speed of light, but because I can't live, because I'm only living half the time, I see it in a frame rate that's running twice as fast. So I sped it up because I was asleep. Because I was falling asleep, everything else got really fast. So the light that was only leaving me at half the speed of light, gaining on me by only half the speed of light, appears like it went twice the speed of light, because now it appears as if it's going normal speed, because I am not realizing that I was asleep half the time, that the frame rate's been sped up, because I'm spin down. I'm spinning down, reality therefore is sped up from my perception.
Fast. Right, because this guy's slowed down, everything else seems faster. That's why there's the time dilation.
Seems is not what we were talking about. What we were talking about is the reality. So I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were doing what it seems to him. I was arguing what really is happening when he turns the flashlight on. So my mistake. I didn't know we were doing I'm asleep half the time.
It was predicted. Because there would have to be a time dilation for this to be possible.
Well, see, there is no time dilation. There's just perception broken. Again, my argument is you keep talking as if there's a time, place, and things are changing. The only thing changing is the thing moving. The physical matter moving is fucked up. You're fucked up when you're moving half the speed of light. You're not seeing anything the real way. It's kind of funny, like the satellites up in space now, you know, they have to have their clocks adjusted. They're less fucked up than we are. We're the ones with the extra velocity. We're the ones with the extra broken clock. Those clocks are the right clocks. More right. We have the more wrong clock.
Michelson Morley, it's Michelson.
Well, you can keep saying that. I mean, obviously, Michelson is what many people have called it, and it's obviously it's one of those spelling things. You know, it reads like Michelson.
Morally experiment.
I mean, most Michelsons are MC kind of things.
To be true, and the light is always going at the speed of light no matter what, then this guy's time would have to slow down. But it's not really as simple as that, because the length...
Yes, it is as simple as that. He's just dumb now. He don't see the world no more. I fell asleep. Oh, fell asleep. Oh, fell asleep. Oh, fell asleep. Oh, fell asleep.
Also contracts. And the mass dilates. And...
yeah, well, all of that is just mathematical mishmash.
So the wavelength of this photon changes, and as a matter
No, the wavelength of the emitting source is important. So yes, the frequency of the light leaving the spaceship will be increased because you're moving half the speed of light. So the light you're going to produce is going to be twice the wavelength. So yes, if it's 500 nanometers, it's now going to be 250 nanometers. So you're going to be producing, you know, when you're doing visible light, it's going to be coming out like X-rays.
in fact, it changes exactly right with the spreading of space, stretching out the wavelength, the amount of...
No, well, you can keep saying that's what's happening, but it's not. The emitter is moving. Therefore, when the atoms are pumping it out, the atoms have the momentum. So when they are shooting the light out, they're shooting it from their momentum perspective. So the frequency will increase. So if the emitter is moving, you'll see a shift. If the receiver is moving, you'll see a shift. But it has nothing to do with the light. There's no stretching of the space between the two receiver and the emitter. There's only a fucked up emitter or a fucked up receiver. If you're moving towards me, you will produce, and you're producing visible light, and you're moving half the speed of light, you will produce at me X-rays. And unless I'm moving just as fast as you are away, I can't turn them back into anything else but X-rays. So the only way I can make them not X-rays is I'd have to be moving half the speed of light like you are. But if I'm just stationary, you're going to zap the fuck out of me with your flashlight that shoots X-rays. Fact.
energy, which E equals mc squared, and a photon...
Oh, like that has anything to do with this shit. No, I'm sorry. E equals mc squared has absolutely nothing to do with this crap.
There's a rest mass, which is the amount of mass it would be if turned into matter. E equals mc squared.
That has to do with actual things that carry momentum. It's not what photons do. They don't carry momentum. They are momentum, one quanta of momentum, and that's all they ever are. And if you have more in frequency, that is, the emitter's moving, that means they'll be dropped at a quicker frequency to somebody ahead of the thing moving.
All of those things dilating, contract.
It's like dumping stuff out of the front of your car versus dumping stuff out of the back of your car, okay? That's how light works. If I'm somebody sitting in my trunk and I'm driving 50 miles an hour down the street and he dumps something at a regular interval, the faster I go, okay, the further apart they're going to get. The slower he goes, the closer apart they're going to be, the things I dump out. So I dump at a regular rate. Because he's moving me in a direction, that rate will appear to something else to be a different rate because it's moving and the dump happens at a different location.
Together. Making the answer work out right, mathematically.
There's no mathematical to this. This is just bullshit. So I'm just saying, oh boy, it works out mathematically. Well, the only part it works out mathematically is obviously if he's going half the speed of light, he has to be half dead, which means he's only living half a life. He's only awake half the time. And that's why everything seems to be going way too fucking fast from his perspective. And that's why he thinks light only going half the speed of light away from him is actually going the speed of light away from him. But again, this experiment ends this whole dopey conversation. Because there's no way he can't know he's fucked up. If he sits in this spaceship shooting light that way, he'll know for sure, holy shit, I'm fucked up. Because the light's not going to hit where it's supposed to be. It's not going to hit the perpendicular dot. It's going to hit way, way behind it. He's going to say, holy shit, I'm going fast as fuck.
Right, so the answer to how come you could shoot something and this guy, where Gary's brain is, sees the photon going out at half the speed of light.
No, well, yes, relative to the spaceship. I see the photon always go the speed of light. I never see a photon from anything. Anything I ever look, anywhere I ever look, I'll never see a photon go any other thing than the speed of light. That's all I'll ever see. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. No matter where I am. Okay, that's all I could ever see unless I'm moving right at it or away from it. And both of those circumstances aren't going to work.
Relative to your ship, registered back to the ship, he also sees your clock going slower. So you see the photon, and because your clock is slower, the photon seems to be going faster again to you.
Not to this guy. Sorry again. You just said it backward again. The only person who's misunderstanding the circumstance is the guy who's asleep. Shit, half the time.
So the same photon going through space at the same point, the difference in speed has to do with your clock speed. No,
it has to do with your perception. So again, keep saying this has to do with an accurate clock telling accurate time, when it has to do with your perception not working, that it means being off half the time, and a clock not ticking all the ticks.
And that's what Einstein, how he said it worked.
Well, again, I don't care what he said. I'm just saying do this thing perpendicular to your velocity and then explain it to me. So you explain to me what Einstein says happens when I shoot light across the ship. I have marked 2 places that are perpendicular in a quiet frame. And you tell me how the light can ever hit this if I'm moving this half the speed of light. You go ahead and tell me how I'll be fooled by my time dilation. My time dilation will not make the photon hit the other side. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. No matter how fast you move me and how dilated you make me, you'll just make the problem worse. You'll just make the photon move even more off of where it should be. It'll even be more obvious how fucked I am.
And I thought they showed a video about how the bending light around other gravitational bodies has been done many times.
Yes, and I've already now pretty much nailed the fuck out of that shit, because the whole time they didn't realize that gravity is inverted lens. Their whole theory of ever seeing anything far away is dead in the water. I've killed it. It can't fucking happen with gravity because the lens is backwards. The part of the lens where you need the most deflection is the weakest part of the lens. And the part where you need the least deflection is the strongest part of the lens, and it's deflecting it too much. You can't bring the photons together. There's no focus with a gravity lens. You've been duped for 100 years by these assholes, and none of you people took any time to anybody to think about it and to really go through it, because you're all just religious kooks, and the Pope has told you that the Son, the Father, and the Holy Ghost, and this is our Trinity, and this is what we live by, and you're just living by a lie.
And you obviously don't know what diffraction is.
No, you obviously don't know that it's not diffraction, you fucking idiot. It's not a lens, it's gravity, you dumb fuck. If it was diffraction, I win too. Okay? It's not diffraction. The light doesn't diffract around the sun. It's bent around the sun. Bent, 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 you fucking kook. You fucking piece of shit. You talk like you know something, and then you say something so fucking stupid. It's not diffraction. It's a bending of the light. Bending, fuckhead.
You're talking about scattering. You're talking about... I don't take you seriously.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna mock the fuck out of you for the rest of your fucking life, you fucking arrogant cunt. You mock other people, you put them in categories, you're a kook, you're a truther, you're an asshole. And look at you, you shithead. You have no fucking knowledge about what you're talking about. You haven't spent any time thinking about it, and you're just making obnoxious, goddamn slanderous statements about other people, you fucking cunt. So yeah, you should be buried under your fucking bullshit. The ash heap of fucking troll. Science trolls. That's all you fuckers are. Science trolls. Our God says so. Mr. Feynman told me so. I have a pocket protector, therefore I'm qualified to have an opinion. Fuck you.
Your theory seriously, because it makes no sense. But also...
Well, go ahead. Make sense out of your fucking gravity lens, asshole. Go ahead. Let's see you make sense out of your fucking gravity lens. Go ahead and explain to me how light comes to it, and it all focuses right here, and I see this object 300 million light years away. No, you don't. You don't see shit. The whole thing's a big fat canard. If you have any hope of having any lensing at all, the damn thing has to be damn close, or it's going to get distorted the fuck out.
Maybe that's because I've worked in science and done them.
Yeah, apparently that's why science does suck so often. I guess that's why shit blows up and the nuclear power plants can't function. It's because asswipes like you are the ones fucking figuring out what to do. You dumb fuck. You have no fucking discipline. You just say, I'm going to let the quantum magic gods fix it. I'll do a rain dance.
Math, and it's like, you have to reproduce the math. Or...
Yeah, what math? Again, they obviously didn't do the math. They didn't do fucking basic optical math and say to themselves, gee, what part of the lens is doing the most work? Oh yeah, it's a little thin part. Oh, why is it doing that? Because it's deflecting the light. Oh yeah, the sun's not deflecting the light. It's got to bend the light. Gee, you need a lot of gravity to bend the light. There's no gravity out there. Duh. There, was that hard to do? No. But it's because they don't want the answer. They don't want the evolution answer. They want the fucking Holy Ghost answer.
You have to fill in a philosophy.
The Holy Quanta Ghost.
That matches the math. Because this theory that they've never put light through a slit or two slits and they don't have...
So you keep saying the same damn thing. That's not what I say they haven't done. What they haven't done is put a detector there, detect the photon and not look at the results. And then, oh, magically, because when they look, it happens. When they don't look, it doesn't happen. That never happened, jackass.
They build lasers so well they can make them cheap and predict how to make a laser disc reader.
Oh, predict how. You know, I think they work at it. And again, you've never invented anything in your life, so I guess you don't really understand how it works, but it really doesn't work that way. You really don't sit there and do let's do a bunch of calculations, figure out all this stuff. No, what you do is you say, solder that fucker on there and see what happens.
And stuff. Because they're so good with the optics. And lasers are using the quantum effects.
Oh yes, quantum effects again. Like what quantum effect would that be? What is a quantum effect? You mean every single time a photon hits an electron, it's a quantum effect? Yeah, I agree with that. But I don't believe there's any quantum effects like, oh, it Heisenberged and then it did a Huygens. No, I don't think it did any of that.
To achieve these great things that lasers do.
Again, more talk. Okay, so yes, lasers couldn't exist if somebody didn't do all this bullshit. And I'm saying bullshit to that. It's all a pile of crap. Okay, like I said, all the way back at Einstein's day, they had already invented, technically, the transistor. Okay, as soon as Einstein created electricity, all right, by shining light on metal, that's the beginning of the transistor.
For us.
The first transistor was a photoresistor.
And I told you, MIT.
Truth.
You went to MIT. You should have done the problems in the coursework, not just watch the video.
I don't need your instruction. You know what you should have done? You should have grown some goddamn balls somewhere in your fucking life, you stupid goddamn cunt. And I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but yeah, it's been a real failure, fucker.
And there's software, MEEP, M-E-E-P, from MIT, that simulates this and actually any object.
Yes, it simulates it based on wrong equations. Gee, that's just so fucking interesting. A fake based on fake math. Gee, I'm so fucking interested. No, I'm not. I'm interested in you giving me the math for the two-slit experiment again. I'll say it again and again and again. Where's the math, fuckhead, that makes the actual both patterns blended together? Show it to me, shit for brain.
Optical thing using the Maxwell equations and the appropriate, quantum mechanical factors. Well enough to...
Yes, says the Pyrrho again. He just keeps talking this shit. Again, why don't you show some more of your propaganda images that I can mock and make fun of? Why don't you again tell me the sun's not producing white light by showing me an image that actually says exactly what I said it's doing. It's producing white light.
Simulate and then build an optical bench, a device, and it behaves the way expected. No, not perfectly, because it's doing a perfect simulation, and you might have a screw cranked a little bit too hard. It's you that's not perfectly matching the math.
Oh, okay, so the experiments that are the actual two-slit experiment, where the pattern varies and there's actually dead spots, dead spots where that are signaling basically the single-slit math is now being superimposed over the double-slit math. Yeah, that fact... That's my fault. That's the experimenter's fault. He did that. He made that happen. But that's not the real two-slit experiment. So the real results that you take real photographs of, that's not the experiment. The experiment is the simulation. Yeah. Fuck you.
And plus, these experiments have been done for 100 years. And with the Galileo...
Yeah, apparently by religious kooks like yourself, by just people who are fucking goddamn protectors of the faith.
And relativity 400. And when you say it's weak...
There's no fucking Galilean experiment, you fucking cunt. I mean, so don't talk like you got... Hey, Galileo had all kinds of evidence. He drank tea in a boat. What the fuck was Galileo's evidence, you retard?
The evidence you should always be admitting it's because you reject the result.
Again, what evidence? Galileo evidence. What are you talking about? Dropping apples off of towers or something? What the fuck are you talking about, you kook?
Not because they never occurred, right? Because you reject...
Well, so he really thinks there's Galilean time dilation experiments. He thinks there actually are.
The results and say everything left isn't conclusive, that wouldn't be a lie. But saying it's never even been done, that's a lie.
Okay, prove it. Prove I lied somewhere. Prove I said an experiment that has been done, hasn't been done, has been done. Go ahead and prove that if you say it. You arrogant cunt, you lying piece of shit. I have not lied about the experiments I've seen and have not seen. I have not lied. I've said I looked for it. I can't find it. Hathaway admitted he couldn't find it. So what? You're going to keep pretending the conclusion is it can't possibly exist? I mean, fuck, it's the goddamn internet. It's 20 fucking years old. You don't think if this fucking magical experiment where they looked at the results and then didn't look at the results and looked at the results and didn't look at the results, you think the fucking thing happened? You fucking cunt.
Your other side of your coin is that you think all of these scientists have been lying.
No, I think they're all liars and religious kooks like you, yet they have no fucking integrity. They don't make a stand-up argument. They're afraid of anybody really taking them on. They have no balls whatsoever. They fucking argue with religious kooks. They don't argue with other scientists, do they? No, because it's a little protective club.
That's just not the kind of problem you have in science. You have to be able to prove what you say in a lab in physics.
Yeah, well, I've just explained the experiment right now. You have a 4-mile-long interferometer. Now, if you try to figure out a way to figure out whether you have... See, if they put it upright, then you could do like a pendulum might work. Some way to get a straight edge. But yeah, if you get a straight edge, yeah, probably a string will work. Just use a really good string, all right? And you should be able to get a right angle. And if you get a perfect right angle, then you should be able to detect when the Earth is moving one way and when the Earth is moving the other way.
Measurable. And what you should do, I'm going to suggest...
I'm going to suggest you fucking goddamn Get what you deserve, you piece of shit. Get ragged on for the rest of your motherfucking life by asshole trolls and on subjects for which you have done nothing dishonorable, for which you have violated no truth, for which you have made no catastrophic mistakes, and just a bunch of assholes just harass you, okay, with their pompous arrogance.
Gary, I am talking to Gary now, obviously, because I have a suggestion.
Yeah, fuck you.
You figured out that a laser, according to your system, a laser at speed will not come out straight. Like,
I don't even know what that means, it will not come out straight. What the fuck are you talking about? What? Perpendicular, asshole. Perpendicular to the movement.
a hose, it'll bend back.
Where? Where did I say that? Another lie. I mean, can somebody please, somebody who's a friend of Pyrrho's, tell him to quit lying? Compulsively lying?
Right? You could. And maybe your laser even, you don't know, maybe it's a problem with the laser. Will you turn the laser over the other way?
I mean, where did he get this from? Could somebody please explain where I ever indicated I think lasers will wobble out of the laser? Where did I do that?
Where you're spinning around the world in a different direction, relative to the laser, and see if it bends the same or a different way.
It doesn't bend. It goes straight. The experiment moves. That's the catch here, right? So if we can't get away from the moving experiment problem, well, yeah, if we shine a light, the light is always in the nothing frame. It's always in the fuck you, I'm not doing any of your relativity shit. Okay, so light is always in the fuck you, I don't have momentum, I don't do relativity, I don't move differently for any motherfucking cunt ever. I always do exactly the same thing, I go in a fucking straight line. So yeah, as your experiment moves, the light's going to keep going straight. Yeah, bingo. Right answer is right there to have. We just need enough precision to get it.
Right, because you're on the Earth and you're traveling thousands.
See, the problem is that they probably can't make a laser beam fine enough, precise enough, to detect the wobble.
Miles an hour or something. Right.
But I'm just saying, do the thought experiment. Show me, draw me the picture, okay, of you in the spaceship going half the speed of light. You shine light across the spaceship, and the light hits perpendicular across. It hits the spot. You marked a spot. You went to the quiet frame. You marked the opposite side of your spaceship. And now explain to me how, going half the speed of light, the light can hit the other side of the ship. Go ahead and explain it.
So you could detect that. And the lasers they have in regular labs, well, if you could point it one way and point it back, and you'd see it's delicate enough to see the redshift.
Well, again, you can't do redshift because that involves the mirrors moving, so that's a problem. Okay, you have to do the experiment with, understanding that the experiment is moving. So the light is the thing that's quiet and the experiment's moving. So, as soon as you're doing a whole bunch of reflections, you're going to probably get into some kind of trouble.
And you're just a fool to think that...
Yeah, well, you're going to have fool, okay, all over your fucking shaggy little creepy head.
None of these people that like play.
Yeah, I'm going to laugh like you. I'm going to just sit here every fucking day. I'm going to do, hey, it's the Pyrrho Laugh Hour. Let's mock this fucking troll of the internet, this fucking piece of shit fucker, okay, who I knew for 10 fucking years on the internet, right? And I did something rather brilliant. And what does he do? He mocks me and laughs at me. The fucking cunt.
With lasers, we bother to actually check this stuff because they know it's not true.
Yeah, sure, they bothered. We already know how they don't bother. Again, the Hubble telescope could sit right in front of the sun every day, pointed right in front of the sun, and just watch it go across the sky and watch it fucking lens. And how come it hasn't done that? Excuses. Well, the Hubble is very busy, and, well, the Hubble's a scaredy. It's a scared that it might jump right into the sun and blow its brains out, so it doesn't go anywhere near the sun because it's afraid of the sun. When we know that's not the truth either. It's all a crock of shit.
And the amount you're demanding being spoon-fed, and then saying,
Okay, that's another line I'll use. When I mock you, I'll have a spoon in my hand. Do I have to spoon feed you with reality, jackass? You don't make arrogant, I'm going to pwn the flat earther videos when you don't know what you're talking about, jackass. Why don't you shut the fuck up because you're a dumb cunt? And I've just demonstrated it.
we're just rude to you. Not you, though. You haven't noticed you're rude.
No, I wasn't rude first, cunt. I didn't sit there and mock you, asshole. You brought it to me, fuckhead. You can't possibly do better than my Feynman. My Feynman guy, I went to school with Feynman. Well, sort of the Feynman corpse anyway. I sat in a chair that like was within a mile of where Feynman sat in a chair. Fuck you. Okay. Mission accomplished. It's in there, right? So eventually, yes, we'll try to find somebody who gives a shit about physics. Somebody who gives a shit about the truth. A real truth seeker. Somebody who doesn't lie when somebody says overtly, this is what I'm saying. They say, look, this is what I'm saying. And they pay attention when the person says that. See, when they hear the words, this is what I'm saying, it's like, that's when they start to pay attention. Not these assholes. So anyway, it's just, yeah, I'm going to win in the end. So, I mean, all this aggravation, yeah, okay, yeah, just fuck it, it's okay. Because I'm going to win in the end. Hopefully I'll still be alive, but I mean, I'm going to win. And these assholes will be revealed for what they are, and maybe there'll be some kind of commentary about, gee, there's an awful lot of people on Earth who open their fucking mouth and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And there should really be some kind of system to say, hey, we'll listen to you, okay, but you can't cheat, you can't lie, and you have to be at least honest. You can't be saying something like, he said, when you know that's not what he said. When you have no evidence that he ever said that. Lasers don't come out of lasers straight. Where did I say anything like that? You'll never find anything I ever said that's anything like, lasers don't come out of lasers straight. It's a lie. A fucking lie. Oh.